I'm muted. Okay. Hey, funny thing before we get started, going into the race and everything, and I will get to those super chats in a moment. But I realized with about 17 seconds left on that timer there, and that's why I'm all red because I was running around in those 15 seconds that my mic wasn't working. So again, I have to ask for a mic check from you guys just to make sure. Um, I was so enthralled with the race that I didn't even pay attention to my mic settings. So, uh, I should be all good. Nobody's saying I'm all bad, so that's a good thing. Let me get really quick, as we almost have 400 already in here. We do. We have over 400. Let's be sure to click that like button. I want to thank some of these donators we got, both super chats and gifted Iceberg memberships. It means a ton. Ross Crash Stain, thank you for the 5. The Alex Bowman Experience runs well. Gets screwed in the last restart. Thanks, Blaney P8 to P29. Marky Mark, thank you for the 5. Blaney fans throughout the race. That's smile, 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 bigger smile, frown. Yeah, that seems about right. Blake, thank you for the 499 as well. Or the 499, I should say. 5 as well. Thoroughly enjoyed the race tonight. Last 15 laps of stage 2 was great. Really hoped Austin Dillon was going to win that. Happy Easter, guys. Well, happy Easter to you, Blake, as well as everybody else out there watching. Thank you, Eric W., for the 10 gifted memberships. Again, we're going to probably this Thursday night. I don't know the time just yet. I'll announce it probably tomorrow morning or afternoon, one or the other, sometime tomorrow. But this Thursday night, we're going to be having a members-only race watch-along of the 1992 Hooters 500. Should be a lot of fun. Bailey, thank you for the 5. Was Priest right to retaliate? It's nice to see a guy actually follow through with his word, though. 2 years in a row, Briscoe could have won. Heartbreak. Bailey, I will get to that when we get to that part of the race recap, but I think it's an interesting situation, and I agree. I like seeing somebody actually follow through on what they're going to say and not just turn to Twitter for it. Marky Mark, thank you for another 5. When you forget to change the caution setting to strict from relaxed. And then Fred Dog, 81, thank you for the 5. Me at around lap 25 of stage 2, acting like Apollo Creed's trainer when he's getting killed in Rocky 4. Throw the damn yellow caution towel. Well, I appreciate all of those from you guys, and any more that come in, we'll read them. Well, I'll read this one right now. GN NASCAR Fan 24, thanks for the 2. NASCAR honoring the 75th anniversary with inconsistent yellows. Well, we're going to get to all this in a moment. But first, let's get to the 2023 Food City Bristol Dirt Race. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We do this all the time. And check out the poll if you guys haven't voted on the poll yet. If my YouTube app will agree with me here. The poll has been up for about 15 minutes. So be sure to vote on the poll. And let's get into this. The 2023 Food City Bristol Dirt Race was a 250-lap race, had 14 cautions, 4 leaders, 4 lead changes, went for 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 48 seconds. I'll get to that super chat in a moment. So, very, very short race. I believe it's going to probably be the shortest scheduled race of the year. While people said it looked empty, remember this place holds 146,000. Not making excuses, just giving the full story on it. I saw some saying it looked like it was about 40% full, which would mean it was about 60,000 there. Others saying it looked 30% full, meaning that there were, hold on, I got it here, doing math, would be about 45,000. So 45 to 60,000, about normal for a NASCAR race. Take that as you will when you talk about whether or not we bring this race back next year. We'll get to that talk as well. We'll start with an easy poll here. I like starting at least with an easier one for the most part. I do like also the drone here. But starting to poll as we get into the finishing order. Should the yellow have been thrown on the last lap? I like having as many polls as possible, so even ones that I feel like people will easily answer, I like putting out there. So should the yellow have been thrown on the last lap? Bring it up now for y'all. There it is. So let's get into the finishing order of this race. Christopher Bell gets the victory a week, I believe, after being in the middle of controversy. Bell has his redemption. Can't blame Chastain for that one. Maybe could, depending on how how big of a move Reddick would have thrown going in there. But he gets the win. Reddick in second. Austin Dillon with a very, very strong third place run. Let me get my stat book out while I'm going through these. So we can look at how people have done so far this season with it. But Austin Dillon with that one, he's struggled a lot this year. That will be his first top 5 of the season. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in fourth, another consistent race from the 47 team. Chase Briscoe in fifth, and then sixth, Justin Haley. Then you have Martin Truex Jr. with his second top 10 of the season in seventh. So another solid run finally for the 19, closing out what should be a good finish, even if he wasn't really up front for the most part in this race. Then after that, you got Todd Gilliland, a strong 8th place finish for Todd Gilliland, trying probably to prove, because let's be real, with the way front row treat him, I don't see him staying there next year unless he has to. So trying to show people that he deserves to be out there with this in a good ride. His second top 10 of the year. Then you got Harvick in 9th. For once, not having to carry the entire banner of SHR. And then rounding out the top 10, a front row sweep of the top 10. Both cars getting in there, 34 and 38. Michael McDowell, after having 2 360 spins in this race, gets his second top 10 of the year. A strong run for the 34 team. You know, if you watch for a while, I'm pretty happy about that as a big-time Michael McDowell fan. Then you got Ty Gibbs, the rookie in 11th. Bubba Wallace rebounding up to the 12th position. William Byron in 13th. Eric Jones, 14th. Harrison Burton, quietly a top 15 run on Easter Sunday. Again, happy Easter to anyone out there who celebrates. And if you don't, still, I hope you have a happy Easter and a good day. 16th position, AJ Allmendinger. 17th, Brad Keselowski, after a dismal day, manages to get a good rebound, at least into the 17th position. 18th goes to his teammate, Christopher Buescher. Then you got Austin Cindric quietly in the 19th spot after being up front a little bit, but didn't work out on those restarts. JJ Yaley, a top 20 finish for Rick Ware Racing. Don't care if it's dirt, super speedway, wherever. A top 20 finish for Rick Ware Racing is awesome to see from any driver, and especially after how good his heat race was and the BS between him and Hamlin. He beat out Hamlin by 2 positions as Ty Dillon got 21st and Denny Hamlin got 22nd. So JJ Yaley beat out Denny Hamlin tonight. A week after Hamlin accidentally took him out, because let's be real, he ain't going to admit to anything at this point. Then you got in 23rd, Ryan Blaney, after being spun on the restart by Briscoe. I'm going to end the poll right here after we have almost 400 votes. 72% of you saying that was a valid caution flag at the end. Then you got Ryan Preece, 24th, Daniel Suarez, 25th, 26th, BJ McLeod, and Josh Berry, final car in the lead lap, 27th. 28th, the lap down will be Ross Chastain. 29th, 2 down will be Alex Bowman. So very rough week for both the 48 and 24 team this week. We might talk about that at the end if you want us to. It's all up to you guys. You guys, in most ways, run the show. And then 30th, Corey LaJoie, 3 laps down, and 31st, Eric Almirola, 10 down. Kyle Busch, 14 laps down in that 8 car. Defending winner, just having issues towards the end there. The rest of these cars were either off or out at the end. Noah Gragson, 33rd. Matt Crafton subbing in for Cody Ware. I don't know what's going on with Cody Ware, but whatever it is, I hope the best for him. But Matt Crafton gets 34th. Kyle Larson, 35th. Davenport, 36th. And 37th in last position was my pick to win tonight, Joey Logano. Pretty fitting. My pick would finish last. I have been pretty cursed when it comes to picking the winner of this race in the past. So there's that. Reading some of these super chats here. Oh, baby, for 5. How many times did Fox show that stupid hole in the track? Seems like it was after every commercial. It was a lot. It really didn't bother me though. And maybe I'm just getting numb to the bad coverage, or maybe it just wasn't that bad. I don't know. But I really didn't have a problem with it that much, to be honest. Um, Horn-fed covers for 2, best race of the year so far. Interesting take. That might be another poll I'll ask you guys. And then Bailey, thank you for the 5. Harvick ran 30th almost all day and somehow gets 9th. Seems like a Kevin Harvick thing to do. He is the closer after all. Dislocation, thank you for the 20. How about doing a dirt race at a dirt track? Don't bring it back, please. I like to concrete Bristol races or get rid of it for the upcoming short track, the Fairgrounds, which sadly means one Bristol date. Little too crazy for me. You know what? Let's actually make this the big one, and it's gonna be a straight up yes or no. After we have a full weekend of dirt racing at Bristol, should NASCAR bring Dirt Bristol back? That will be the second poll of the night. Should NASCAR bring this race back? This whole weekend back? Yes or no? Because we have 3 years of data to look back on, 3 years of racing, so that's going to go up now. And then I'll read those 2 super chats in a moment, the last 2. But I want to first, for those watching who may have not heard me go through the finishing order, this may be changed. It is unofficial, but it was based off NASCAR's website. The finishing order up top and my streaming schedule for the week, which includes being on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on Eric Estep's channel Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll talk all about this kind of stuff. But really quick, Fred Dog 81 left another 5. Who do you think was the bigger disappointment for the hype they got as a ringer? Jordan Taylor at Coda or Jonathan Davenport at Bristol? See, this is the thing about ringers. It's as exciting as it is for them to in the race. And I like having people from different forms of racing in it. I don't think expecting them to go against guys who drive these cars every week and win or run really well should be expected. It should not be the norm of expectations. So I'm not disappointed by either. But personally, if I had to say who I'm more disappointed by, it'd probably be Davenport, just because there has been that hype up. But again, I'm not disappointed. I think that they ran about, even if he got taken out, when he was running, he ran about where I thought he would be. Jimmy, thank you for the 5. Hi, happy Easter. That was a great race. Mess at times, but the racing was great overall. I'll get to that in a moment after this next one from Bake the Snake for 5. I missed most of the race, but from what I heard, it was straight shenanigans. Okay, so I'll be clear in this. The racing itself, I liked. I thought the racing was great. I thought the battling for the lead up front, the slide jobs in the middle of the pack, then having the like 3, 4, 5 wide racing, I thought that was fun personally. The wrecks were overly excessive. I mean, like I read at the start of the show, 14 cautions in a 250 lap race. That's overboard. I personally would give the race about a 7. The racing itself, I'd give a 9. I thought the racing itself was fun. Unfortunately, again, there is that wrecking added on board with it, so we can't go too, I can't go and say it's like a 8 out of 10 just because I'm not a fan of Wreckfest personally. Great game, not my favorite racing to watch. But let's get through this shenanigan-filled race. That's the best way to put it. By the way, subscribe to the channel if you like this and racing all the time. We cover racing all week long. And like the stream too, helps us all out. And really close, very close on bringing Dirt Bristol back. I'll be fully transparent with y'all. I am a fan of Dirt Bristol. I know most people aren't, but nobody showed up to the spring concrete race, even with the bad so-and-so attendance so far in this race. I really, that wasn't as bad as it was towards the end of the Bristol concrete. Which is worth showing and worth talking about. So I personally bring it back, but I'm in favor of long-term giving this date to the fairgrounds. I don't think this track anymore can support 2 dates, and I think that you might as well have that date open for a track that, 1, can fill the seats, but 2, could branch out the sport a bit more, because I know people around Nashville definitely look like they want that racetrack to be on the schedule. And yes, the Angry Gamer, I did hear about Justin. Definitely a sad story. And I'm glad Fox paid a tribute to him during the race. That was very classy by them. Definitely, it's definitely a good thing for them to go and do. But let's go through some of the shenanigans in this race. So lap 10, you got the first caution. Logano, Bubba, Byron, Gilliland, they all get into a wreck together. You have another caution for Crafton in the wall, which collects Logano again at lap 38. And then around lap 56, when Kyle Larson at the start had dominated this race, it became the Kyle and Kyle show again, which we've seen at Bristol before. We've seen before. It's always fun when these two race each other hard. But Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson running 1-2 at one point. So the Kyle and Kyle show alive and well in this race. But ultimately, with, I believe, Brad Keselowski spinning off 4, the stage comes to an end with Larson winning it, Austin Dillon in second, ahead of teammate Kyle Busch in third, Preece getting 4th in the stage, 5th going to Blaney, 6th going to Christopher Bell, 7th going to Briscoe, 8th going to Reddick, Haley 9th, and William Byron 10th in stage 1. Then stage 2, you got starting out Davenport spinning. You got Michael McDowell doing the first of 2 360s, which he would later do only, 10 laps later. You have the 99 spin in, the 22 at this point gets collected, just absolutely kills the car. He ends up getting, is it his second last place finish of the year, I think? And it's just a lot of spins. Pre-spun, Ty Dillon spun. Not all of these were yellows. Brad Keselowski and JJ Yaley spin. That's a yellow. Then at the end of stage 2, I thought we had some damn good racing between Reddick and the RCR guys and so on and so forth. You had Jones do a 360 around this time too. They stayed green. But then, Kyle Busch does a slide job on Reddick and gets the lead for a moment. Off the corner, Reddick fights back, pulls a slide job on Kyle Busch. Then Kyle Busch clears himself and kind of gets the lead. But that wasn't the end of it, because the 3, the 8, the 45, they all keep racing for the lead as they go. And Reddick ends up getting the stage win. Dillon second, I believe, both stages. Yes, Austin Dillon second, both stages. Then Larson in third. Yeah, Bell, Busch, Briscoe, Truex 7th quietly. Blaney in 8th, coming up through the pack as the night went on. 9th to Haley. 10th to Eric Almirola. But a solid night going before, didn't go solid. And then you get the final stage. Bell runs away with it at the start of the stage. And I'll get to that in a moment, Jacob, but thank you very much. A caution comes out for Larson. I believe this was where we had the deal with. So I'm going to end the poll really quick. Should NASCAR bring Dirt Bristol back? 55% say yes to 45% no. And we'll ask another poll and then read that super chat. But this poll will lead into the topic we're going to talk about. Was Preece's revenge on Larson warranted? And again, yes or no question to start with, and we'll read these super chats as we go. First off, Jacob, thank you for the 5. Your first super chat, I believe it says. Yes, first super chat in the channel, so thank you very much. I hope that NASCAR's next TV contract is way less than it is now, because then the tracks might have to try and get people to show up, and Fox would have less ads. That would be one way to go about it. It would definitely affect the sport in other ways, but if that's how it ends out, I know that percentage-wise, they're not going to get the increase I don't think that the NBA or NFL will get. That might be a possibility. The tracks are going to get less of the split from what it sounds like, because NASCAR, I think, keeps its 10%, and then the teams, from what it sounds like, are going to get a bigger piece of the pie, and that comes from the tracks revenue, which, honestly, it should. I think the teams should have more stability in the tracks. If the only issue is if attendance does crater even more, we'd have track issues. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I was at that second Talladega race. Attendance wasn't all that great. So I mean, having the fire under the asses of all the track owners would be a hell of a way to it would be a hell of a way to get more people there and maybe get outside the box ideas like Charlotte Roval or Bristol Dirt. Jets_Mets_ for 2, 4 lead changes, 3 of them under stage breaks. Yes, that is something that did happen. And like I said, I thought there was great racing throughout the show, but maybe looking at how to make the front of the pack better. Sometimes there's just cars that are better, though, but it seemed like once somebody got the lead, they had it for the entirety of the run. So that's something else to bring up about this track. Should it come back if you can't race well for the lead? Dislocation, thank you for the 10. I'm not a schedule guy that much, but at this point, every track should probably have one track date. Get different tracks involved. Example, Iowa and the fairgrounds and others. It just makes sense at this point. I think so to a degree too. It's just more the issue of NASCAR with ISC owning almost half the tracks. SMI is not going to want to give up a lot of them unless they can lease the dates like they do with COTA. And then you got a few independent tracks. So I agree to an extent. I think that there should probably be the 2 Daytona dates. I would say 2 Talladega just because of bringing ratings in. Not 2 Atlanta. It should definitely be minimal on who has multiple dates. I agree with that, though. So let's get to the pressing issue of the poll. Was Priest's revenge on Larson warranted? It was pretty clear it was revenge. 55% of you were saying yes. So very split again. I think at the start, I mean, you can say that what Larson did was a dumb move, but at least I'm not exactly I'm not a racer. I'm not in the cars. I don't know what Priest saw. It seemed like a dumb move, yeah. Especially if they were right and Larson's spotter did say, yeah, I told him you were there and he just came up. Dumb move. Maybe it was intentional. I don't know if I would say junking a guy is worth that. But at the same time, Priest has been getting pushed around left and right. He's been basically turned into a weekly ping pong ball. So I gotta say, I kind of lean no in the sense that I think it was an overreaction for what was done, especially since Priest kept racing, and based on the way they finished, while Priest was 24th, he did finish on the lead lap. He beat guys like Suarez and McLeod and Barry. I mean, not the greatest to beat, somebody who was off all night, 78 team. I would expect, Priest to beat them, and somebody who has barely ever driven the next gen. But, it's kind of like Gian NASCAR fan says in the chat, Priest has reached his boiling point, and maybe he needs to send a message out there. He might have snapped, like Thomas says too. He may have snapped. We might have seen him snap after COTA, and this is the repercussions. It's going to be interesting through the week what NASCAR might, what NASCAR's response would be, depending on what Priest says or if they talk to him or whatever. But that's interesting to see. And again, NASCAR fans are damn near 50-50, 55-45 split again on that poll. We'll get more polls. Don't worry about that. 1 second, and I'm gonna mute myself for a second. All right. Okay, I think it's good. I like that. Sheerank 24-4 says boiling point of running 20th every week. Ran 24th this week. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. Let's see. Bailey, thank you for the 5. Priest would have had a top 5 or top 10 if it wasn't for the incident, I think. I mean, he had that much of a car. His car was up there. So I would say that it did ruin his race. It did. But I don't know. I am split down the middle. I don't want to take a definitive stance until I see more of it after the race. I'm sure that Skew Cars probably upload more clips so I can watch back on it, maybe hear stuff. But it's interesting, man. It's interesting. They never fans. We never agree on anything. Napa Racing Fan 927. Would Charlotte dirt track work for a dirt race? Teams could have Carolina swing, with not much time off. How big is that track? Is it a quarter mile? Because if that's the case, I don't think so. NASCAR Shill, my favorite parody account in the chat. That drama between Priest and Larson will definitely drive up ratings. Dirt Bristol is awesome. Eldora and other dirt tracks cannot support a cup race. God, I love that account. All right, let's get to the rest of this as we go. Where was I? I was in the final stage here. All right, 90 to go. This is where you start getting into the final stages of this thing. You start getting into the point where I would say this race it was starting to shape up who was decided to be where. And I will get to all of those in a moment. But thank you guys for the super chats there. So making sure I have all this ready. Wow, triple super chats. Thank you guys. I'll read those in a moment. I want to get to the finish of this race before we get to that, just to make sure that we're good. Okay. So then you have a 360 spin by Denny. They stay green. At this point, they're at relaxed yellows at the end of this race. I felt like NASCAR was at the point where, like, we want to hit the damn window. We know this will probably be a good hit with ratings, unlike last year, and that still got like 4 million viewers, where rain plagued the race. So they kept it green a lot. Chastain spun. You had Gregson spinning. I mean, it was just spin after spin after spin. This really was the Bristol spin cycle. Not the Bristol dirt race, the Bristol spin race. Because it seemed like they just wanted to spin out the whole damn time. But anyway, with 28 to go, you got the 14 and the 45 getting together. 14 gets in the wall a couple laps later. You have a caution, which I thought was a BS yellow at the end, of Kyle Busch spinning like everybody else had all night, spinning down onto pit road. They call a caution, though, and give a restart with 8 to go. On this restart, Briscoe and Blaney get together, spinning Blaney all the way to the back. And from there, the race is between Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick. And I did not think that on that final restart that I honestly didn't think that Reddick was going to reach Bell, even if they had that last half lap. That's just my take on it. But it might have happened. I still think the Chastain caution, and I agree with a lot of you, I think that was a justified yellow. But that's how it ends out. That is how the 2023 Food City Bristol Dirt Race ends out. Speaking of that, just to make sure, the poll right now is still up. Gotta reopen the poll up because YouTube changed things, so now I can't actually update stuff when I want to see it. But yeah, be sure to vote on the poll. We already got 210 comments. Good Lord, man, that's a lot of comments. I'm going to read through probably pretty much all of them today. Also, be sure to visit Daily Downforce. They've been really awesome supporting the channel and getting it out there. So I got a picture of the crowd here. Honestly, before the race, with everybody in the stands, it was honestly more than last year. I know it probably looked worse on TV, but seeing a picture at the track and looking across the track at, I believe this is the start-finish line. Might not be. Might be the backstretch. Either way, Bristol looks so damn similar from both sides of it. I've been there, and I would get lost at times. Maybe that's just me. But honestly, not too awful of a crowd. It looked about 40% full at the start, which would be about 60,000. A little under 60,000. It looks like there were more than last year. Looking in the chat here, Farmer Cameron Canada says, Bell fan here, and let's go. Yeah. All right. Let's look at these super chats here. First off, from Rob, thank you for the 5 first super chat as well. So thank you for being generous and helping the channel. Says that's how Priest ran in modifieds. He either wins or wrecks or breaks every race. Well, I mean, at least he goes for broke, right? Traztech. Is that the, let's see, MX? Is that the, what is MX? Again, American school system didn't teach me anything. But thank you for the 65 MX. Is that like, yeah, somebody let me know what that is. I apologize. But says, would there be any value in having Cup Series races in Canada or Mexico? To try and tap into the Mexican and Canada markets. New to NASCAR, love your content. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Is that the Mexican peso by chance? I'm so sorry. I don't have full knowledge of that. But I'll say this. I do think going into maybe one. Okay. Thank you, Irvin Alvarado. Thank you. So I'll say, I think that they should be racing in Canada and Mexico. I think going to Montreal, for instance, would be a great schedule change. And I know there's talk about going to Mexico. I don't know where they'd be, whether it be a track in Mexico already, kind of like what they used to do, or if they do a street race. I don't know how that'd go. But I do think that reaching those markets will be big because they are untapped NASCAR markets and untapped racing markets. At NASCAR, I think nowadays could honestly tap into better than they did back in the 2000s. That's my take on it. I agree. But thank you for the super chat. Tyler, thank you for the 5. Love the race, but would probably prefer it at a true dirt track. True in quotes. Looked awkward seeing the pavement shine through at the by the end. Again, I am a fan of Dirt Bristol, but I would love Eldora. Eldora would be perfect to me. Daniel, thank you for the 2. NASCAR currently finding a penalty for Hendrick. Okay, this might get me in hot water, but like, I need a smaller violin to play for Hendrick. I mean, there's so many times that stuff has happened. Hendrick bad, yes, but Hendrick also has done pretty damn well, and I don't think these penalties are going to be that big on him personally. But that's just my take on it. And again, I'm rooted for Hendrick for over a decade, so I don't think I'm saying this as I'm biased against Hendrick by any means. Looking in the chat, where'd the chat go? The anonymous Accelerdo. I want to read this comment really quick. Even if the attendance tonight was better than the last concrete spring race, 45 to 60K at BMS still doesn't look good from TV optics perspective, given how massive the grandstands are there. Hold on one second. I'm going to mute myself. I'm getting a stuffed up nose for no reason, but I want to address that because I think that's a valid point. All right, I don't have Kleenex, so just bear with my nasaliness. But bringing that up, and again, I'll get to those super chats in a moment, I promise, to those who have donated. But that is a good point. I mean, it's kind of like Indianapolis. Indianapolis in 2011 looked pretty bad when you look how patchy the grandstands were. And they had, I think, 140,000 there. And NASCAR today would kill for the 140,000 in a race. I mean, we were basically celebrating having almost that for Road America. So that is a good point to bring up. And I know for a fact from people I've talked to in NASCAR that is something that they and the TV providers do look at. So that is something interesting to bring up. Because 45,000, for instance, if they redid Nashville Fairgrounds and that many came in, they had overflow seating and stuff like that, it would be seen as a smash hit. 40,000 sold out for the Nashville Super Speedway the first year, and people saw that as awesome. It looked amazing, the full stands. So there is that. Yeah, allergies do suck. So I apologize if I sound bad. Let's see what else we got here. Kevin, thank you for the 5. This race pretty much tells me that Easter is absolutely not one of Kyle Larson's favorite holidays. Yeah, something always happens to Larson in this race. Yeah, I think I picked Larson the first year and he got crashed with Bell. Fred Dog 81, thank you for the 5. What do you think of JGR overall? Bell's great. Gibbs improving steadily, but Truex is just kind of there. And, well, this week in Denny's dumb decision. It's actually really funny. I had somebody blow up my two DMs on Twitter this week, sending me everything under the sun about how stupid I was for saying that Bell was the better driver at the moment for JGR. And I still think that. I think Bell is the number one guy because I think he's still on that upward swing. I think he has the higher ceiling for the future. And so I mean, tonight he gets the win, and Denny Hamlin has dumb decisions, dumb mistakes, and finishes 22nd. Not really saying much for the entire year, I would say, just because Hamlin has had 2 top 10s. But if you look at Bell's statistics, he has 1 win, 5 top 5s, and 6 top 10s in 8 races. So, I mean, at this point, I'm going with Bell. Like, Bell is a safe choice. I know Bell's going to run up front almost every week as long as he doesn't do something dumb or isn't collected in something. And he's a consistent winner year in and year out right now. So, let's see. Nap Racing Fan 927 brings up a interesting comment here. Last points win for a JGR driver, for JGR by a driver not named Bell, was Hamlin in the 2022 Coke 600. Bell won 4 races for JGR. Is JGR on a downward trend? I wouldn't say they're on a... Okay, technically, yes. But I don't want it to I don't want someone to take that out of context, even though I left that pause there, which is probably dumb. I don't want someone to take that out of context and for me to say JGR's cooked. I think that they're doing a better version, at least in the down years. I don't know how it'll be when they have it in the up years, but in the down years, they're doing better than what Hendrick was doing in 2017, 18, 19. You remember, Hendrick Motorsports was atrocious for their standards in those years. Yes, Chase Elliott was the bright spot, but that was it. That was the only bright spot consistently for Hendrick Motorsports. In 17, you had an aging Dale Earnhardt Jr. that was well past his prime. You had a Casey Kane that wasn't all that good either, though he did get his last win in 2017. Then you had William Byron and Alex Bowman fresh in a good ride. Jimmy Johnson in that time disintegrating in performance. So they had that downtime, and they rebuilt with younger drivers over time, and it worked out. Now you have JGR. JGR in the end of the 20s, 2010s, start of the 20s, they had been every week Truex up front, Kyle Busch up front, Denny Hamlin up front, Bell getting better. Now Bell is kind of in that role, in my opinion, at least, that Chase Elliott was in. He is the guy holding the flag, charging forward. Denny Hamlin, I think, is still very competitive compared to those Hendrick guys I talked about. But he's still slowly tapering down. Kyle Busch was before he left. And now, Martin Truex Jr. has been slowly since 2019 tapering off. And now you got Ty Gibbs up there, who's been pretty solid for rookie standards. You have, so it's going to be interesting to see how he progresses. But then you got, I would say, Sammy Smith. It's going to be interesting to see how he progresses too. And maybe John Hunter Nemechek might be that next guy to plug in, depending on how he does. So I don't think that Gibbs is in trouble. I think they're on a downward trend at the moment, but I don't think they're in trouble, personally. I could be completely wrong, but I think they're doing a pretty good version of what Hendrick Motorsports did. Looking at some of these other chats in here. Sad Chastain noises. I'm not a Hamlin fan, but I at least give him credit for keeping NASCAR relevant to outsiders. Also take into consideration MTJ having the James Small situation. There is that. Alessandro says, Hamlin and Truex are the old drivers, veterans, if you will. Joe Gibbs should do what Hendrick did and look for young drivers to go from there. And I think they have that with Ty Gibbs. Oh, they changed it to 10th? Hold on. I want to make sure that because this is what NASCAR.com put, so I want to double check. But if that's the case, I will change that right now. I'm gonna look at the results just to double check. But if that's the case, thank you for letting me know. All right, Ty Gibbs did. Ty Gibbs beat out Michael McDowell, so good catch. Thank you very much. You'll see it change in real time on the top of the screen. All right. So 54 Gibbs in 10th, and the 34 of McDowell put 11th. This is why, again, I preface that these are unofficial results. But thank you very much for pointing that out. I appreciate that. And if there's any others that are off, let me know. But good job. Oh, and hey Noah. Noah and Lewis in the chat provides awesome content at the track. Follow him on Twitter if you haven't already, and on YouTube. It says, I'm exhausted. I bet you are, man. Hell of a long day. But awesome stuff. So thank you guys for letting me know that. And yes, that means that Ty Gibbs got his 4th consecutive top 10 today. Wow. That is, wow. For a rookie in this day and age, that's not to the level of, say, a Denny Hamlin in 2006 yet, or, which people forget, Denny Hamlin in 06 was outside the chase for a while. Or some of these other guys like Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman. But 4 top 10s in a row for Gibbs, like, that's at the same level of rookie years, I would say. If he can get some more, if he might, get a win or two. Honestly, better than guys like Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth on average ran in their rookie years. I personally, as much as people don't like Gibbs, you got to admit the kid is talented. And while I like Gibbs, I get why people don't. But hell of a early rookie year for Ty Gibbs so far. Again, if anything is off on the finishing order, I do have the finishing order or the results on a separate screen, just to make a double check. But I think I got everything else right. But is what it is. Yeah, Harvick 9th. How? I don't know. But Harvick, he's the closer. He manages to get those up there. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, I'll watch that as soon as I get off. But Noah says that if you have not seen Priest's response yet, it's up now on my page. Exactly what you'd expect after this week. Yeah, I'm definitely watching that after. And we're about at the end of this stream. So I'll let you guys know on a couple things coming up. We got videos Monday through Thursday, live stream on Eric Estep's channel, Wednesday night, NASCAR Weekly Podcast. We will be live talking about all of this stuff. For members, Thursday night, we will be doing a watch-along at some point, whether it's early, whether it's afternoon into night or night itself. But we'll be doing a watch-along of the 1992 Hooters 500 for members only. And then post-race stuff from Martinsville all weekend long. And remember, 9 days from today, we'll be live on this channel for the NR Cup Series, having Talladega on the gauntlet. 5 races remaining, championship. So far, 9 drivers still within a race, so it should be really, really interesting to watch. But that about covers it, I think. I don't really know too much more to go over. We went over a lot, and we will go over a lot this week. We will go over a lot tomorrow in tomorrow's video. And yeah, I think that covers it. So thank you all so much for watching tonight. Oh, Jesus. I almost forgot. Hold on. I ended the stream last night just a little early, and I did forget one super chat. And I meant to read it tonight. I completely forgot. My apologies. Let me pull it up on my end. By the way, we're just one subscriber away from 62.1. So if anyone's new, be sure to jump on. But I want to read that one super chat that I missed at the end before we head out. And if there's any others I haven't seen at the moment, I will look at them when I read this. But Speedway Anywhere did put, hopefully North Wilkesboro is the tip of the iceberg of tracks to be restored. So I wanted to read that. I apologize that I was off stream. There is a delay on my end, so if anything comes in right at the end of a stream, I don't see it. I do apologize for that. And then thank you, Michael Kelly Gilliam, for the 5 gifted memberships as well. All right. I think that's about it. I don't know if there's anything else we got tonight, but I think that covers it. So now, thank you guys so much for watching. For subscribe to the channel, like all that good stuff, and have the rest of your Easter night be a really good one. So till tomorrow, until Wednesday, until whenever you see me again, have a good one. Night, y'all.